Let me tell you something that took me 60 years to notice. You can scrub a house top to bottom, wash the windows, beat the rugs, and the single dirtiest thing in the whole room is the one thing you reach over and switch on to feel better: your fan. All summer long that fan has not been cooling you. It has been standing in the corner, quietly throwing a fine gray cloud of dust into the air you breathe all night. And nobody ever taught us to look. I want you to do something right after this. Go put your face down close to the blades of the fan you run the most, the one by your bed or your chair, and really look at the front edge of those blades. You are going to see a gray felt, a fuzz, caked right on the leading edge. That is not lint off your clothes, not most of it. I will tell you exactly what it is in a minute, and once I do, you will not be able to unsee it. But first I am going to give you the fix, because that is what I am here for, and the fix takes about 10 minutes with things you already own. No special spray, no gadget off the television, just the way my mother did it, and her mother before her. Here is the 10-minute fix, and I want you to hear the first word loud, because it is the one people skip, and it is the one that matters. Unplug it. Pull the cord clean out of the wall before you touch a thing. A fan is a motor and a wet rag do not belong together while there is power in the line. So, unplugged, sitting in your lap or on the kitchen table. For your everyday box fan, the square kind that sits in the window, you will see little tabs or a few screws holding that front grill on. Squeeze the tabs or back the screws out and lift the face right off. If yours is the cheap riveted kind that will not open, do not fight it. I will tell you how to do those in a second. With the grill off, take a dry cloth or the brush end of your vacuum and lift the loose dust off the blades first, before you ever bring water near it. Then, and only then, you take a soft rag just barely damp with a little white vinegar and water, half and half, and you wipe each blade front and back. The vinegar cuts that greasy film that plain water just smears around. Wipe the grill, wipe the housing with a cloth that is barely damp. Keep every bit of moisture away from the motor, let it all dry a few minutes, and put it back together. That is it. 10 minutes. And the first time you run it after, you will feel the difference in the air, I promise you that. Now for the one you cannot open, that riveted box fan, and for the bladeless tower fans, the tall thin ones. You are not getting inside those easily, and you do not need to. The dust on those hides in the vents, the slots where the air gets pulled in. So you run the brush of the vacuum right up and down those slots, and then, if you have a can of that compressed air, the kind for a computer keyboard, you blow it straight back out through the vents. Run it a minute after to clear what you loosened. 2 minutes of work and it breathes like new. The pedestal fan and the oscillating fan, the ones up on a stand that turn their heads side to side, those usually come apart the easiest of all. The front cage twists or unclips, the cap in the center backs off, and the blade slides right out into your hand. Wash that cage and that blade in the sink with a drop of dish soap and warm water, rinse it, dry it all the way, and wipe the motor part, the part you do not get wet, with that barely damp vinegar rag. Back together it goes. And the ceiling fan, way up there, the one nobody touches until it snows dust on the bed. I have got the trick my neighbor Ruth taught me 40 years ago, and it is the best one I know. You take an old pillowcase, the bigger the better, and you slide it right over the whole blade like a sleeve. Then you pull it back toward you, pressing gentle on the top and the bottom through the cloth. And here is the beauty of it. All that gray dust comes off into the inside of the pillowcase instead of raining down all over your bed and your floor. You do every blade that way, then you carry the case outside, turn it inside out, give it a shake, and toss it in the wash. 2 things on the ceiling fan, and I mean these. Turn it off at the wall first, and do not you dare stand on a wobbly kitchen chair to reach it. You get a real step stool, the kind with a rail, and if your balance is not what it was, you have somebody hold it, or you wait for a grandchild to come by and you let them feel useful. A clean fan is not worth a broken hip. I have buried that lesson in too many friends. Now, while you have got that picture in your head, the pillowcase full of gray, let me tell you what is actually in it, because this is the part that changed how I feel about the whole thing. That dust is not just dirt off your shoes. A big share of household dust is us. It is our own skin, the bits we shed without ever knowing, every single day. And living down in it, too small for your eye, are dust mites, little cousins of the spider, and it is not even them that does the harm, it is their leavings, their droppings, which the allergy doctors will tell you are one of the most common things in the whole world that sets people off. And then there is pollen that drifted in through the screen, and pet dander, and mold spores, and the gray soot of the road, all of it settling soft and quiet onto those blades week after week. And I will tell you a thing the researchers found that surprised even me, and I only pass it along because it is true and you ought to know it. When they carry ordinary house dust into a laboratory and study what is actually in it, they do not just find skin and pollen, they find the modern house itself, worn down small. Little bits of the flame retardant they spray on the couch cushions, traces off the non-stick pans, the soft plastics, all of it ground down to a powder so fine it drifts and floats and settles with the rest. Now I am not telling you that to frighten you. There is enough fear being sold on the television already, and I will not add to it. I am telling you because it is one more plain reason that the gray on that blade is not nothing, and clearing it out of the air you breathe is not fussiness or vanity. It is just good sense, the kind your grandmother had without needing a study to prove it. And here is the cruel little joke of it. All that settled dust would mostly just lie there, harmless, if you left it alone. But you do not leave it alone. You switch the fan on, and a fan does exactly one thing. It takes air, and whatever is sitting in that air's path, and it throws it across the room. So a dirty fan is not just dirty. It is a machine for picking up everything that's settled and flinging it back up into the air right in front of your face, the fine stuff floating where you breathe it deepest, all night while you sleep. Now you tell me, have you had what you swore was a summer cold that just would not quit? The stuffy nose, the scratchy throat, the watery eyes, dragging on for weeks when nobody around you was sick. For a great many of us, that is not a cold at all. That is your own house, and very often that fan, stirring up what you are allergic to and serving it to you on a breeze. The folks with asthma feel it worst, and the little ones, and us older ones whose lungs have done their share of years. I went the better part of a life thinking I just got summer colds. I did not. I had a dirty fan and an open window, and nobody had ever told me the two things were connected. And it is the sleep I wish someone had warned me about most. You lie down at night, tired, and you point that fan right at the bed because the room is warm. And for 8 hours, it blows the finest dust straight across your pillow, right into the breath that is supposed to be healing you. You wake up stuffed up, and you blame the weather, or your age, or the pollen outside, and all the while, it was the helper in the corner. I think of my friend Maybelle's grandson, a wheezy little thing every single summer in that back bedroom, and the family carried him to doctors and tried everything. And the one thing no one had thought to check was the box fan in his window, gray as a storm cloud on the blades. I am not going to sit here and promise you a clean fan cures a single ailment, because I do not tell you things I cannot stand behind. But I will tell you that taking a known load of dust and allergens out of the air a person sleeps in is never the wrong thing to do. It is the cheapest, kindest fix in this whole house, and it is sitting right there in your bedroom, waiting on 10 minutes and a damp rag. And that, right there, is why I made you something, and I want to mention it now so you can be watching for it. I have taken every one of these fixes, the vinegar measures, the dish soap, the safe way, and the order to do it in, and I have written them all out plain on cards you can tape inside a cabinet door. They are part of a little collection I put together, and I will tell you exactly how to put your hands on it before we are done, and how much, which is next to nothing. I am not going to interrupt myself to sell to you. I am going to earn it first, by giving you everything, and then I will point you to it. So tuck that away, and let us keep going, because cleaning the fan is only the first room of this house. I learned most of what I know about this from my mother, and I think about her every June. She kept a cooler, fresher house than any I have been in since, and she never owned a fancy thing to do it with. What she had was a jug of white vinegar, a box of baking soda, a bottle of plain dish soap, and a way of doing things in the right order so it actually worked. She used to say the dust was not the enemy. The dust was just going to come. The enemy was letting it build up where the air could grab it. Stay ahead of it, she said, and you never have to do a big, terrible cleaning, because there is never a big, terrible mess. I did not listen to her for about 30 years, if I am honest. I bought the sprays. I had a cabinet full of bottles with bright labels, half of them used once. And my house was not as clean as hers. It took me far too long to go back to the simple things she did, and a piece of why I am sitting here is so it does not take you that long too. So let us talk about the simple things, because the same vinegar and baking soda and dish soap that clean the fan are about to clean half the room. White vinegar, cut about half and half with water in a spray bottle, is your everyday wiper. It cuts the greasy film dust leaves behind, on the fan, on the blinds, on the windowsills where the dust packs into the corners. Baking soda, made into a soft paste with a little water, is for the stubborn caked-on spots, the gummy place on a grill a rag will not lift, and you rub it gentle and wipe it clean. And plain dish soap in warm water is the gentlest, safest wash there is for anything you can take to the sink, the cage, the blade, the filter we are going to get to. But here is where I have to stop you and say the one thing I will not let you leave without hearing, because it matters more than any cleaning tip I will ever give you. Do not you ever mix bleach with vinegar, not in a bucket, not in the sink, not to make a weak cleaner stronger. Bleach and vinegar together make a gas that will burn your lungs, and people end up in the hospital over it every single year. Good people just trying to clean, who thought 2 cleaners must be twice as good. They are not. And the same goes for bleach and ammonia, the kind in some glass cleaners. Keep your bleach by itself, away from everything, or do what my mother did and what I do, and just keep a jug of vinegar and a box of soda, and skip the bleach altogether for most of the house. You will be amazed how little you needed it. Now, we have got the fan clean, and we have got the wiping water mixed, but I have not yet told you about the dustiest, most forgotten thing in the whole summer house, the one that is costing you real money every month it sits dirty, and it is not the fan at all. It is sitting in your window or in the wall right now, humming away, and I would bet you have never once cleaned the part that matters. Catch your breath, get your vinegar, and stay right here with me, because that is where we are going next. So let us talk about that thing humming in your window, your air conditioner. Now, every one of these units, the window kind and the big central kind both, has a filter in it. And on a window unit, it is not the throwaway paper kind. It is a reusable mesh, a little foam or plastic screen, that you are supposed to take out and clean. And I would put money on it that a great many of you have never once done it, because nobody told you it was there. Here is how, and it is easy. Turn the unit off, pull the plug if you can reach it, pop off the front panel, the part that clicks off, and you will see the filter slide right out. It will be gray, packed with lint. Sometimes you cannot even see through it anymore. You vacuum the loose stuff off both sides, then you wash it in the sink with warm water and a drop of dish soap. Scrub it soft with an old toothbrush till the water runs clear through it. And then, this is the part you cannot skip. You let it dry all the way, bone dry, before it goes back in. A damp filter sitting in a dark machine is exactly how you grow mold inside the very thing that is supposed to be cooling you. Dry it in the sun if you can. Once a month all summer, and the whole job is half an hour. Now, I told you this one was costing you money, and here is the truth of that, and it comes straight from the Department of Energy, not from me. When that filter clogs up, the air cannot get through it, so the machine has to work harder and run longer to cool the same room. And a clean filter against a dirty one can cut the energy that unit uses by somewhere between 5 and 15%. Think on that. You have been paying 5, 10, 15 cents on every dollar of that cooling bill for nothing but dust, all summer, year after year. And worse than the money, that machine straining against a clogged filter is wearing its motor out early, the most expensive part, the one that sends people out to buy a whole new unit before their time. A 10-cent rinse of a filter is the cheapest insurance you will ever buy on an appliance. My mother would have called paying that dust tax for 30 years a sin, and she would not have been entirely joking. Now, I have given you a good deal already, and I told you near the start I made you something, and that I would earn it first and then point you to it. I have earned it, so let me tell you, plain and proud, because I am genuinely pleased with this, and I think it is the best thing I have ever put together for you. Everything I do in this house, the fixes I just gave you, and 100 more, I have written down. Not as some big book that sits on a shelf and never gets opened. I wrote it the way my mother kept her recipes, on cards you can tape right inside the cabinet door where you keep your vinegar, so the answer is hanging right there the moment you need it. It is a little collection of 3 guides, and I want to tell you exactly what each one does, because I do not believe in selling you a mystery. The first one is the laundry book, the 1-jug reset, that gets the must out of your towels and the gray out of your whites without a shelf of bottles. The second, and it is the one most folks reach for, is the whole house cleaning book, the spotless house on pennies, every room, every surface, done with what is already in your pantry, the fan and the filter and the windowsills all in there. And the third is the honest one about mold, the reckoning, where I tell you the plain truth that most will not, including where your own scrubbing stops and you need to call somebody, because I would never sell you a fairy tale about that. All 3 of those guides, together with the recipe cards to tape up, and a safety sheet of the never mix rules, so nobody in your family ever makes that bleach mistake. The whole thing is $34.99. Not each, for all of it. And it usually runs more than $114, so you are saving nearly $80, better than 70% off, but only while I am holding the founding price, which is through the 20th of June. After that, it goes up. Now think about what one cabinet of those bright spray bottles costs you in a year, the ones you buy and use once. This costs less than a couple of them, and it never runs out, and it never expires. There is a little square code right there on your screen. You take your phone and you point the camera at it, that is all, and it takes you straight there, and the link is sitting right under this video too. And if you get it, and it is not everything I just said it was, you have got 7 days, and you write me and I give you your money back. No fuss, no form to fill out. The only thing you are risking is the few minutes it takes to read the first page. Get it tonight, and by tomorrow your cabinet under the sink starts getting emptier instead of fuller, and that, to me, is the whole point. There. That is the only time I will ask. Now let me give you the rest, because I am not done taking care of you. Let us talk about staying ahead of it, the way my mother meant. In the high summer, when the fans run all day, give the blades a quick wipe every week or two. It takes a minute when you stay on top of it, and you never face that caked gray felt again. And here is one almost nobody knows about the ceiling fan. There is a little switch on the side of it, and it changes which way the blades spin. In the summer you want them spinning so the air blows straight down on you. That is counterclockwise for most fans, and it makes a real breeze you can feel, a wind chill on your skin. The Department of Energy says that breeze lets you set your thermostat about 4 degrees warmer and feel just as comfortable, which is more money back in your pocket. But here is the catch, and it is a kindness to your own wallet. A fan cools your skin, not the room. The air is not actually getting colder, so when you walk out of a room, turn the fan off. Running a fan in an empty room is just spinning your electric meter for nobody. My Eleanor next door left every fan in the house running all day for the cat. I love her, but that cat had the coolest skin and the highest power bill on the street. Now the big central filters, if you have central air, those throwaway ones get changed every 1 to 3 months, sooner if you have got pets or anybody with allergies, or the system runs hard all summer. And there is a number on those. They call it the MERV rating, and higher means it catches finer dust. For most homes, a middling one, around an 8, does fine, and if somebody in the house has real allergies, you can step up toward an 11 or a 13. But hear me, do not just grab the very highest number thinking more is better. Too fine a filter chokes the airflow on a system that was not built for it, and now you are back to straining the machine and running the bill up, the very thing we are trying to stop. Match it to what your unit calls for, and when in doubt, the middling one is the safe choice. And while you are thinking about where the air comes from, do not forget the places it comes through. Those vents and registers in the floor and the ceiling. The metal grills the cool air pours out of. They collect a gray fur on every slat, and then the air pushes right through that fur on its way to you. Pull them up if they lift out, or just run the vacuum brush right over them where they sit, and wipe the slats with that same half-and-half vinegar rag. Do it when you change the season. And the window screens, those fine mesh squares, they are catching dust and pollen out of every breeze that comes in, and when they get loaded up, you are pulling your fresh air through a dirty filter you never think of. Once a summer, slide them out, lay them flat on the porch, and rinse them with the hose and a little dish soap, both sides, and let the sun dry them. The difference in the air on the first cool evening you open the windows after, you will notice it. My mother did her screens the same week she did her spring curtains, every year, and I never understood why until I had a house of my own and skipped it for 3 summers and wondered why everything felt stale. The old rhythms were not busy work. Every one of them was stopping dust at a door you forgot was a door. And then there is the real secret, the one that makes all the rest easier. which is stopping the dust before it ever gets to the blades. So much of what is in your house came in on the bottoms of shoes, tracked right through the door, the dirt and the pollen and worse. A good mat at every door and the old habit of slipping your shoes off when you come in cuts that down more than you would believe. Wash your bed sheets every week in hot water, good and hot, around 130 degrees, because that is what it takes to kill the dust mites living in them, and you spend a third of your life in that bed breathing right down into it. And keep your house on the dry side, under 50% humidity if you can, because the mites and the mold both need damp to thrive. A dehumidifier in a muggy room, or just running that clean air conditioner does the job. Dry air, clean sheets, shoes at the door, a wiped fan, that is the whole of it. That is a house that does not turn on you in the summer. And since I promised you the honest truth about mold, here it is. And it is the same truth that is in that third guide. You can clean a small patch of mold yourself, on the tile, around a window, with what we have talked about. But if it is bigger than about 10 square feet, a patch bigger than a bath towel, or if you clean it and it keeps coming right back in the same spot, then you have got a water problem behind that wall, not a cleaning problem. And no spray on earth, not mine, not the strongest thing on the store shelf, kills it for good while the water is still getting in. Anybody who tells you different is selling you something. The mold is just the weed, the water is the root. You fix the leak, the damp, the bad air, and if it is a big patch, or it is in the air you breathe, you get a professional in, because that is not a place to be proud and stubborn. I will tell you the cheap fix every single time there is one, and I will tell you when there is not. That is the deal between us, and I will not break it. So picture it with me, the way I always like to end. It is next July. The fans in your house spin clean and quiet, no gray on the blades, no cloud in the morning light. The filter got rinsed last week. The sheets are hot washed, and the windows have their screens, and the shoes are by the door. And under your sink, where there used to be a graveyard of half-used bottles you paid good money for and never finished, there is a jug of vinegar, a box of soda, a bottle of dish soap, and a little stack of cards in your own hand, telling you exactly what to do. The house smells like nothing at all, which is what clean actually smells like. You are not coughing through August. You are not paying the dust tax on the cooling bill. And you did it the way the women before us did it, with your own 2 hands and almost no money, because somebody finally sat you down and told you how. That is the kind of woman you are, or you would not have stayed with me this long. You would rather know how a thing works than be sold a bottle for it. So go pull the plug on that fan, take the pillowcase to the ceiling, rinse that filter, and tonight, if you want every last one of these written out on cards for that cabinet door, the link and the little code are right here waiting, and the founding price holds till the 20th. Either way, you have got the fix now, and nobody can take that back from you. Stay cool this summer, and stay ahead of it. That is what she always told me, and now I have told you.